Meet me. Yo, that was pretty badass, huh? Alright, so today we're going to do another Epic 7 hero preview with Dr. Squirrel. Today we're going to talk about Ilynav, I think that's how you pronounce it, and ML Kawazu. We finally have something to do with the 8,000 Kawazus you've probably pulled over the past few months. So, as always, we're going to go over each of these heroes' kits together. I'm going to talk about whether I think they'll be strong in the current meta and try to give some insights as to whether you should pull for her or not. Now, importantly, this is not a limited hero, and we do know that there are some collabs coming up soon, so if you're bookmark starved, probably your best bet is to skip. But without further ado, let's talk about her kit. So you guys can watch this story stuff on your own. We don't care about that. She is a Fire Knight, pretty good base HP, has built-in crit chance, whatever, it's her base stats, but her imprint release is awesome. Crit chance imprint releases are always awesome, because it makes the gearing much easier. And I haven't watched this video yet, but it sounds like it might be some kind of DPS unit if they're giving her a crit chance imprint. Let's find out. So, her skill 3, Repel, attacks all enemies mercilessly and grants increased critical hit damage to all allies for 2 turns and immunity to just the caster for 2 turns. Damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's max health. So there you go, a health scaling bruiser essentially. Let's watch this ability together. Seems like I don't know, seems okay. It doesn't seem that amazing, but maybe it does a crap ton of damage. Let's watch it. Ooh. Animation looks pretty cool. Damage didn't seem too crazy, but wait. Does she buff before? Oh, no, she did have attack buff. She had attack buff. Granted, there is an FCC and an LR Crow on the team, so it might be double damage mitigation, Aureus and Adamant. But either way, it doesn't seem to hit crazy hard, but I think that's fine. She's a knight. Looks like they built her kind of DPS style because she only has 16.7k HP here. I don't really know how I feel about crit damage buff. Like with Flan it works, but with other heroes, like I'd rather just have attack buff, I think. But who knows? But anyways, it seems okay. Basically like a pseudo attack buff and a self-immunity. Nothing too crazy. Not super impressive for S3, but doesn't mean it's bad. Her S2 attacks and pierces the enemy, inflicting injuries. Increases defense of the caster for 2 turns. That's good, except if you open with your S3, which you probably will, it means you still go basically 2 entire turns without it. Damage dealt increases proportional. I'm assuming all her abilities will scale with max health. Severity of injuries increases proportional to damage dealt. Injuries decrease max health of the target by up to 20% every time this skill is used. Look, I'm not a fan of injury. I think in some of the talks they had before, they were talking about how to improve injury and try to get people to do more Katie's hunts. But as of right now, I don't think I've seen injury in the past like 200 RTA matches I've done. So maybe with this hero it'll become a thing. The problem is with the current RTA meta and the way Battle Frenzy works, injury doesn't really matter because by the time you get to the point where it does matter, everyone's doing so much damage that they're going to one-shot you anyway. So the only way this really works is if you're going to do like a double Soul Weaver draft into another double Soul Weaver draft and you're trying to like put injury stacks on them into maybe like a one-shot from LR Crow or something, but this is such a rare situation. Most people are just using like pseudo G-Purge cleaves or offensive-oriented teams. I would say 80% of matches in the top 100 are over by maybe turn 3, which means injury doesn't really matter. But anyways, let's see it. And the Soul Burn decreases skill cooldown by 2 turns, so it's somewhat spammable. But let's take a look at the animation. Maybe it at least looks cool. Oh. I will say, all her moves look kind of cool. You know what this reminds me of? Shadow Rose. Like a much cooler version of Shadow Rose where she's like jumping up and stabbing them. Alright, so let's look at her S1. Attacks the enemy with a spear, damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's max health. When the skill is used, if it was not triggered by a dual attack, has a 50% chance to use Punish instead of Rush. This skill does not trigger it. I don't know why this skill wouldn't trigger. I guess because it might turn into Punish. But, so basically, this just says that her S1 might use her S2 instead. So this actually makes her a little bit better. Again, I have not watched this video before. This makes her a little bit better because if it was just on her S2, I would say this kit is pretty trash, right? Like, what? You have to soul burn her, and if not, basically she's putting, like, one injury stack on someone every X turns. It's whatever. But the thing about her S1 now is you're probably going to run this hero on Elbrus Encounter, right? Why? Because, or you could just make her tanky and put her on Elbrus. Because if they attack anything that's not her, they have a chance to just be constantly getting Elbrus countered into injuries. The problem again, though, is it's going to be a lot of RNG because 50% chance. I'd almost like it better if the injury was just 10% and it was a 100% chance to do it. But, you know, there's going to be a lot of matches where it just doesn't do anything. And again, with the RTA pacing the way it is, I mean, it's going to take too long for these injuries to stack up for it to really matter. I think this hero will be possibly a pocket pick because there are some very high-level players out there who like to use really annoying, like double Soul Weaver, double Knight teams and just try to grind you almost like Season 1 style. But even those teams usually have 1 DPS. Usually they're just trying to protect 1 DPS, whether it's like a Landy or a Carrot. And I feel like they'll be able to roast you before you have enough time to put enough injury stacks up. So let's see. Let's wrap up with her artifact. Wings of Light and Shadow increases critical hit chance when a critical hit is... You know what this reminds me of? One of those mage artifacts that increases critical hit chances. This is going to be a super niche artifact. Probably no one's going to use it. I don't even think you would ever want to use it on Ilynav. Probably, I really think Elbrus will be the most common pick on Ilynav. That's just my prediction. I think, you know, she already has a self-crit imprint. Do you really need this? So I can't even think of a knight that would want to use this because it even only works with critical hits, the damage bonus. I don't know. And it's not even... I thought it was... I misread it. It's the damage of the next attack. Possibly Alencia? Maybe Alencia? If the S2 or whatever, the extra attack with Mind's Eye counts for the increased damage. Oh wait, no. This is a knight artifact. I literally can't think of a person. Not Alencia, she's a warrior. I can't think of a single person that would use this off the top of my head. I would literally have to look at a list of knights. And basically, I don't think you need to worry about this artifact. Just get it when you get it. So ultimately, my conclusion on this hero is... I think it's an easy skip, to be honest, if you're bookmark starved. Like, I'm obviously going to pull for her because I pull on every RGB hero because I'm a tuber. But I think if I was a new player and I was waiting for the collabs, I would skip on this. Like, obviously, this is an RTA hero because injury does nothing in PvE. And even in RTA, injury has just not made an impact yet. Maybe they will next season after they do whatever they're going to do to fix the KD sets. But as of right now, it just takes too long to stack up. None of the matches, or a very few proportion of the matches, will get to a point where this actually matters. And I think if you're a new player, you want to invest in heroes that give you the most bang for the buck. I don't think this is it. Let's talk about Inferno Kawazu now. Someone's here to see you.
How dare you try to stop?
Oh, let's not watch this yet. Alright, so he looks like a freaking zombie. Kind of like you know what he looks like? Like those anime gangster Yakuza people. Except, you know, he was bitten by a zombie. So whatever, let's, again, we don't watch the stories together. We don't care, at least I don't care about the story. Let's see, he's a dark warrior. Obviously he's an ML4. Alright, whatever. He has a self-attack imprint and a team health imprint. I'm assuming everyone will just use the self-imprint on him. Let's go right into the kit. Skill 2, and again I have not seen this yet. Malicus's power. After suffering an attack that targets all allies, dispels all debuffs from the caster and activates Blazing Fury. What the hell is that? With an outrage cry grants vigor. So vigor is what Ken has, right? So I think it's increased health and defense to the caster for 2 turns before recovering health and increasing combat readiness by 20%. Amount recovered increases proportional to his attack, and the skill enhance is actually healing. I like, so we need to see the rest of his kit, but this actually looks super promising. Maybe even like a Cerise counter. Like, well, we don't know what, like, how much damage he does yet, but think about it. Like, even if a Cerise goes on and, like, opens with the SD, like, he can't even be stopped by Restrict, because I'm assuming he dispels before activating Blazing Fury, so he'll cleanse that Restrict right off and give himself a 20% attack bump and have Vigor and heal himself, so maybe even top himself off. That seems pretty crazy, but we don't know what the rest of his moves do yet, so we would have to... Well, let's watch this thing in action.
생명력을 회복하고
So T-Cern's going to debuff him, or AoE attack.
회복량은 자신의 공격력에 비례 증가합니다.
Okay, and it's the same Ken buff, and he gets pushed up, and he gets that turn. So it's not a damage move, but still looks pretty awesome. Goes into the skill 1, says skill 3, so Jealous Strike. Attacks the enemy with flames, 65% chance to burn. Makes sense that he's a burn hero, because in the story they're like fire worshippers or something. If he has Vigor, basically a 100% chance to burn 2 burns, and inflicts 1 addition. So if he has Vigor, if they used any AoE attack, so basically in the current RTA meta, he's going to have this up all the time, because pretty much all the popular heroes are AoE, like Landy, Carrot, RB. Well, like the only one is maybe like S10A and like Ravi, but all the other ones tend to have a lot of AoE. So he's going to have uptime on his Vigor, which means he has a 100% chance to apply 2 burns. And we all learned from Carrot recently how much 2 burns can do, so looks pretty freaking awesome. Let's just see, it's just gonna look like a poke, I guess.
한 개의 화성을 추가로
Oh, actually looks pretty cool for an S1. Why did he get an extra turn? Huh? What?
증가하고
Oh, he's soul
한 개의
burned.
화성을 시일경
Is that a bug? I don't see anything about a soul burn here. Was there a soul burn on the other skill? There's no soul burn on any of his skills, so maybe that's just a visual glitch, but if they soul burn for an extra turn, that seems pretty nuts. But okay, let's move to his skill 3. Flames of Destruction. Attacks the enemy, so single target with an Inferno, dispelling all buffs before a 75% chance each to inflict 2 burns. So basically a 100% chance to inflict 2 burns at max mola, and at the end of the turn detonates burn effects. Ignores effect resistance when he has Vigor. Yo, okay, this hero sounds freaking nuts. So essentially, I wonder if the ignore effect resistance only applies to the burn, or also to the dispelling all buffs. Because if it also applies to dispelling all buffs, yo, this hero is nuts. So basically, if you try to open on him, he can push himself up, full cleanse himself, and then full cleanse an enemy unit, and then apply 2 burns, and then blow them the hell up, and they can't even resist it. Let's see this crap in action. This sounds crazy.
2턴간 발생, 각 최대 100% 확률로 2개의 화상을 2턴간 발생시키고 턴 종료 시 대상이 걸린 화상을 격폭시킵니다. 자신이 폐기 상태라면 효과 저항을 무시합니다.
What? Yo, wait, what just happened? That's an FCC, boys. 2400 to 24k. Yo, that FCC just got completely murked. This hero looks freaking awesome. I want this hero. I'll tell you right now, I mean, I'm assuming there's no artifact for an ML4. I'm telling you right now, I think this hero will be pretty annoying. I think it's going to be a pocket pick. I don't think it's going to be the kind of hero you draft into everything, because I think the one problem with this hero, looking at him right now, is it's probably going to be hard to build, right? I might want to build him as an anti-cleave, actually, although the one problem with that is a lot of cleavers now use Politis, so even with, it'll be a 10% CR push, and it might not be enough to get him to the front, but if you build a super... What's his base speed? Oh god, he's slow as balls. Never mind. Because I was going to say, if you build him really fast with decently high attack, you could kind of use him as a counter initiator into a cleave, right? Like basically, if they open, like most of the initiators are like, Flitica or Cerise or something like the F10A, and they all, you know, basically are AoE, so he'd be able to push himself, cut in front, and if it's a squishy cleave team, even without much attack with 2 burns, he's going to blow something up instantly, right? So that's kind of how I was thinking of using him. I don't know if you can actually bruise with this hero. I think it'd be hard to bruise because honestly, like, he has no survivability talents, and his defensive stats don't seem that great. So honestly, if you just try to bring him to a bruise team, I think they'll just train him and blow him up. So I don't know. I think his kit is definitely super cool. Of course, I do not recommend pulling for him. Why? Because he's an ML4. The only reason you should ever pull for an ML4 on a Mystic is if you don't have the ML5 and you want it. You will eventually get the ML4s. Do not ever waste Mystics chasing an ML4. Like, I've seen people pull on banners for the ML4 when they already have the ML5. Please do not do that. Please do not do that unless you're a Mega Whale, in which case you're probably not watching this video anyway. But I think this kit is super awesome. I hope I get this hero. I hope the rerun is... some people are saying it's going to be Ruel. I really hope it's made because then I'll actually be incentivized to pull for it. If it's Ruel, obviously I won't be able to pull for ML Kawazu. I'll just have to wait. But I think this will be a very fun pocket pick hero that may actually be a must ban depending on what they drafted already. Because against cleave teams, if he can actually cut to the front, if you can build him fast enough to cut to the front, he's going to just completely ruin cleave team rotations by just straight up punching them in the face and having them explode. I mean, he literally rocked this FCC. Something like a Cerise or a C-Dom is not going to survive that. 0% chance. So I can't wait to get that hero and experiment with him, have some fun building him out. So yeah, I think if you're lucky enough to be able to get him, I think you can make some use out of this hero. So anyways, those are my hero previews. TLDR is Ilynav. I think she's an easy skip. Maybe she'll be good, but injury, we all know what happened with Mort. Like, it just doesn't work very well. As for this guy, I think he's going to be a pocket pick for sure. He's not going to be like Carrot's usable in like all situations. I don't think like Inferno Kawazu is that tier, but I think his kit is super unique, super fun, and I think against certain drafts actually going to be quite powerful. So those are just my predictions. I'm just a squirrel. I could be completely wrong. I just scamper around trees and eat nuts and crap, but that's what I think. So anyways, if you do decide to pull for these heroes, best of luck. Make sure you join Channel Nuts, throw in a meep, and you'll get what you need. Thanks for watching. Until next time, peace out, boys.